All right, welcome to a bonus episode of the You Dad Me at Hello podcast. Two dads' opinions. You didn't ask for it, but we're here anyway. Again, this is a bonus episode, audio only, anywhere you can get your podcasts. Today's topic is a dream card in wrestling. I'm going to have Andy hit us off and let us know what some of the rules are and what rosters we're choosing from. So why don't we do that?
Yeah, this is something that I've given some thought to. We're used to doing tournament style episodes. I thought, let's think outside the box here. What's something different that we can do? And something in the wrestling, I guess, community, if you want to call it that. They always talk about dream matches. People always want to see, Hulk Hogan in his prime versus, Stone Cold in his prime. So kind of what I put together was, let's put a roster from one year from one particular, organization versus a different year in another organization. So taking those two rosters and who would you want to see go against each other? And what we're going to look at today is probably two of the best rosters that you've ever seen in wrestling history. And that is the 2002 WWE WWF roster, which was right around the roster split that they had between Raw and SmackDown, and going against the 1997 WCW roster. Now, the reason I chose these two rosters was, the WWE roster in 2002, you had such a unique roster at that time. You had a lot of veterans in that group who were towards the end of their run, such as, Hogan, Stone Cold, The Rock. But then you had a lot of up and comers as well, new faces, people like Brock Lesnar. You had the cruiserweights. This is after the WCW had already closed out. So you had a lot of their stars coming over as well. And then 1997 WCW, this was the height of NWO. And this is when they were on a hiring spree, and it was a who's who in wrestling at that time because they were head-to-head against the WWF in the Monday Night Wars. Again, a lot of veterans. You had the NWO, you had the cruiserweights, you had a lot of international talent. So these two rosters were absolutely stacked. So what we're going to do is go over who we want to see against each other. And, basically the rules are we're only going over 5 matches. We're going to keep it really short and simple. What we're going to have is a traditional 5-on-5 matchup. So that's going to be one match. We're going to have a tag team match, and then we're going to have 3 singles matches. So we're going to have, you're basically an opener, a mid-card, and then what's your main event. So we're going to go back and forth. If there's a matchup that one of us said, because we don't know what matches we chose. So if there's a matchup that one of us already said that we chose, scratch it. We're gonna go back into some other matches that we picked because we basically picked a little bit more than we were supposed to, just in case that happened, because we don't want to pick the same thing. And we'll basically book it. Who would win, how it would go down, whatever you want to talk about. That particular matchup, why you want to see it. We'll go from there. And I'm really curious as to what you picked.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I was watching wrestling from about 95, 96 on to about 2002, 2003. So I know very well both of these rosters. WCW I wasn't as into, but a lot of these names obviously ended up becoming household names over the years. Even some of the lower names on the WCW roster, when I say lower, maybe not used correctly, or to their, to their ability. So super excited about it. If you have any thoughts as you listen to this, if you have any dream matches that you're thinking of on these two cards, feel free to leave a comment. We are on YouTube. We are on Facebook. And then we are on anywhere you can get your audio podcast. So today you're probably listening because it's audio only on places like Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast. and a bunch of others. There are a good amount, but anchor.fm/you dad me at hello is where you can find all of our links to all of the audio podcasts. And so again, feel free to reach out on Facebook and comment below the link to this video, which will be out, or I'm sorry, the link to this audio. And feel free to let us know how you thought about our picks and throw your own picks in there too. So starting it off, I think we both agreed we did our 5-on-5s first.
Yes.
So if you don't mind, this is your baby. So why don't you start off and let us know what your 5-on-5 pick is? Did you come up with any sort of event name or location or theme song about your event here?
I came up with a location. I think the Barclays Center. I think Barclays Center wasn't even around at any point during both of these years. But you think about the current NXT events that they have there, some of the bigger WWE events, that crowd is always very lively and they're looking for hard-hitting action. And I think I'm going to bring that with what I have. Theme song, it was just something that kind of came up today as I was listening to an old school mix CD. My way home from getting an oil change was Here to Stay by Korn. Was never really too big of a Korn fan, but I loved that CD that came out, The Untouchables. And that song always gets me pumped up. So
nice. I actually chose a place that was constructed in 2010, and it was the Barclays Center.
Oh, nice.
So I chose the same one. It opened up in 2012, so it's only been around for the last 8 years or so. And the song that I chose was Kid Rock's "Lonely Road of Faith." If you haven't heard it, amazing song. And since you don't have an event name, we're going to go with mine. It's In Your House, One Night Only.
Oh, ooh.
So that's what we're doing. I originally went with In Your House, Good Friends, Better Enemies. But I'm going with One Night Only. One Night Only comes from a 90s WWE pay-per-view. I think it was British Bulldog headline that pay-per-view over in the UK.
Very nice, very nice.
So,
I couldn't come up with a name. I was looking at different names, and I was like, I can't choose one.
all right, so 5-on-5, what do you got?
All right, so on the WWF side, basically I got a team of cruiserweights and technicians. So I got the Japanese buzzsaw, Tajiri, Billy Kidman, the Hurricane, Lance Storm, and Captain Chris Jericho against WCW's Dean Malenko, Ultimo Dragon, Juventud Guerrera, Rey Mysterio, and Captain Eddie Guerrero. I felt like these five, you would see dives, flips, different submission holds, crazy double team, triple teams, what have you. And, you think of WCW at that point, like what made them so different was the cruiserweight division. And those five were really the main players of that cruiserweight division. And WWE around that time, they kind of started utilizing the cruiserweight division a little bit more. And, the Hurricane, Tajiri, Kidman were three pillars of that era's cruiserweight division. And then Lance Storm and Chris Jericho, Jericho did, some of that cruiserweight stuff in WCW. He was more of a heavyweight when he came to WWF, WWE, whatever you call it. And Lance Storm was always just that technician. And he was actually a former cruiserweight champion later on in WCW, so I thought he would fit the bill as well. Really, I see this matchup coming down to the last four, which would be Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero against Jericho and Lance Storm, the former tag team, the Thrill Seekers. I see Storm being eliminated by Rey Mysterio, and then Eddie and Rey kind of teaming up on Jericho. However, there's a little bit of tomfoolery going around, and basically, Jericho kind of hits Rey into Eddie Guerrero, causes a little bit of commotion, and Jericho's able to roll up Eddie. And Eddie's, obviously angry with that, short-tempered, goes to walk away, instead hits Rey Mysterio in the back with a chair, turning on his own partner, and Jericho puts him in the walls of Jericho for Rey to tap out and for Team WWF to take the win.
Nice. That sounds like an exciting match. I did not put that much effort into
That was like
how
the
the
only
matches
match.
are going to go.
That was the only match I was really like, this is the
All
way
right.
it's going to end.
Nice. Tell us what you think. I did rethink this. This will be on YouTube. You just won't see our nice faces. You'll probably see some sort of logo. So feel free to write some comments either on YouTube or Facebook.
Put some cartoons.
Yeah. But 5-on-5 sounds like a great match. I do have a different one.
All right.
So I went with something a little similar. So on the WCW side, I went with the Radicals. I'm calling them Radicals. I know they were the Radicals in WWF, but Chris Benoit, Dean Malenko, Saturn, Eddie Guerrero, and Chris Jericho. He wasn't part of the Radicals on the move over, but they came very close to one another in their debuts over in WWF. But WCW versions versus the Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, and X-Pac. X-Pac kind of an addition in there with the Hardys, and Edge and Christian obviously have a lot of chemistry, and I just needed a fifth, so X-Pac made the cut. But on this one, I mentioned that the Radicals are the ones who are going to pull off the upset here. I have it ending with just two people in the ring, Chris Benoit on the WCW side and X-Pac are in the ring, and Chris Benoit headbutts X-Pac from the top rope, and he takes the win for the 5-on-5. Now, in my head, I wasn't thinking of an elimination, so those are just the two that are in the ring on the 5-on-5, but Chris Benoit ends up getting the clean win over X-Pac. I had X-Pac take the loss. Hardy Boys and Edge and Christian stay good. They don't take the hit.
There's always got to be somebody who is subjected to the loss. Like if anybody's gonna take the pinfall, it's gonna be that guy.
And X-Pac can handle it. So he'll be good. So Radicals were some of my favorite coming in over to WWF. I was so shocked to see them at ringside. Chris Jericho, if I can remember right, came in afterwards.
No, he was there before because he.
Oh, he was there before. Okay,
did the whole promo on
the Rock, right? That was around '99, I think. But anyways, yeah. So that's my 5-on-5.
All right.
Moving into the opener. The opener is a big one for me, and it's actually my favorite match on the card. This is going to be a Hell in a Cell.
What was your opener?
We're going right into it.
Okay.
So Hell in a Cell opener. WWF these days, what they do is they make the opener just as good, if not better, sometimes than later in the card. You want to get the audience,
Well, that was the 5-on-5, wasn't it?
It was. This is my pre-show.
That was your pre-show. All right.
Now this is the first opener of a match that means something. It's like the 5-on-5 was my New Japan match. Opener is like, okay, this means something. This is the third match between these two. It's going to be Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin in a Hell in a Cell with Vince McMahon as the special guest referee. We are going to end this feud. This is the rubber match. So after Survivor Series 96 and WrestleMania 13, they were tied. Bret Hart in this one is going to go over. Bret Hart wins with a middle rope elbow drop. Not a huge move, but it's because Vince turns on Austin during the sharpshooter in a twist version of the screw job. And we see the Montreal screw job on Austin.
This is how you're starting off the show?
This is how I'm starting off the show. It's only going to get worse from here.
This is WCW booking right here. So
I have a title later, so my main event's a title match. I happen to think titles should end pay-per-views. Okay. But this is my favorite match of all. It's Bret, Austin, Hell in a Cell, Vince McMahon, a lot of drama. Now, Vince stays out of it for the majority of this match. I wanted it to be a strict Bret Hart versus Austin, kind of a WrestleMania 13 rematch, a little bit hardcore. They obviously don't go on top of the Hell in a Cell. They don't need to do that. They just use it, kind of, hurt each other the whole time. You definitely see a figure 4 down the turnbuckle from Bret Hart. But it's not till the very end. Vince McMahon screws over Austin, and we see that twist version of the screw job. But yeah, that's
Interesting.
it.
All right.
All right,
All
bro.
right, bro. All right. See, I went left field. I went with matches that we've never seen before, or at least not to my knowledge. So I am choosing my 5-on-5 as the opener. That is the hot opener to get the crowd into it. So after they see all those flips, dives, turning on people, all that kind of stuff, let's slow it down a little bit. My second match coming in from WCW is the powerhouse Scott Norton against Brock Lesnar. So these two guys are just absolute behemoths, massive muscle men out in this ring. And this is going to be a short and sweet match. They're just going to beat the living crap out of each other. Scott Norton, who at this point is a veteran, a New Japan legend. In WCW, I wouldn't call him a legend, but he was up there. And Brock Lesnar coming in at this point was still in that rookie stage. Brock Lesnar is going to take the win. He's going to show that he is the strongest. He is the fastest. I feel like I'm describing Bianca Belair. But Brock Lesnar is going to pick up the massive Scott Norton on his shoulders and deliver that F5 and just, from there catapult to the main event. So that's my match right there.
Nice. I know almost nothing about Scott Norton. Brock Lesnar, obviously, I do know, but I agree with your Brock Lesnar going over. So nice.
What do you got? Oh, I guess I'm next.
Oh, it's my turn?
Yeah, I guess I'm next, right?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So my third match. You ready for this one? Are you sitting down?
I'm ready.
I can't see you, so I don't know if you're sitting down now.
I am standing outside,
All right,
actually.
so this one is more storyline driven. We got The Game, Triple H versus the Macho Man. Now,
nice.
you might be asking yourself, well, how's this storyline driven? Well, anything with Triple H is storyline driven, right? So,
are you going inappropriate right now?
Maybe. So this is Triple H managed by Stephanie McMahon. And there's going to be a little storyline in the beginning to kind of play towards the smart marks a little bit, because there's always been a rumor going around that Stephanie and Randy Savage had a little thing back in the day. Never been confirmed. It's been mostly doubted, and I highly doubt it was ever a real thing. But they're going to play off of that. And Triple H is really going to start to get a little jealous of maybe the relationship between Randy Savage and Stephanie behind the scenes. And they're going to play off of that. And basically it's going to come down to them battling back and forth. You think about Triple H always has these long cinematic kind of matches. And Macho Man's, one of the most athletic performers ever in WWE. So they're just going to go back and forth. And basically it's going to come down to Stephanie getting involved in the match, and out of nowhere, Miss Elizabeth is going to come in and pull down Stephanie from the rings, give her own, Stephanie slap, kind of a little, as Jerry Lawler screams cat fight in the background. But Triple H is going to nail the Macho Man with his sledgehammer, give him the pedigree for the 1, 2, 3, and Triple H and Stephanie go out victorious.
All right. So just to add a little background to that too, I don't know if you know this, Randy Savage actually really liked Triple H in their time in WWF, and often publicly complimented his wrestling ability. It was only when Triple H was doing a magazine interview, he labeled Macho Man a dinosaur. And Randy Savage's feelings were extremely hurt. And he recorded a video in a gym as the Macho Man addressing some issues. So they actually, Triple H started some stuff. So there's probably a little background to that too.
They play a little bit of the heat in the background. And it just ties right into it.
There you go. All right, well, next is my mid-card match. I have The Rock versus Sting.
Ooh.
I'm not sure that these guys ever fought. I don't think so. But The Rock versus Sting. I like Sting. I think he's a great guy. I think his matches are entertaining. The Rock, obviously, I'm not sure anyone beats him entertainment wise. Even wrestling, he's a great wrestler. I'm not gonna, fault him. He's not the best technical wrestler ever, but I've always enjoyed his matches, no matter what. So it would be a very entertaining match here. But I'm gonna give it to The Rock, winning straight up with the Rock bottom on Sting. However, at the end of this match, there will be a handshake in the middle of the ring. It will be reminiscent of The Rock and Hulk Hogan doing the double look out into the audience. And there'll be a great admiration for The Rock and Sting as they go 21 minutes and 32 seconds.
I was going to say, I did have The Rock on my card originally, but it got bumped for a main event that I felt was even better.
Okay, all right. Cool. All right. My next match is my tag team match right before the main event. I went back and forth on this one. I hope I'm not about to take yours. I don't think I am, but it is the Brothers of Destruction, Kane and The Undertaker on the WWF side versus The Outsiders. Too sweet. Nice. Kevin Nash, Scott Hall. So Kane and The Undertaker versus The Outsiders here. 4 big men, all with I'd say, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, mediocre wrestling skills. Kane and The Undertaker, probably a little bit better. We're not talking 95 Razor. So, in this way, Kane and The Undertaker are going to win with double tombstones in the middle of the ring. And we do see the Brothers of Destruction take the win.
Nice. I left Undertaker and Kane off the card.
Wow, you couldn't afford them?
No, I was on a strict budget.
What's going on
here? After booking Scott Norton. If it was in Japan, it would have been taking all the money.
Where's at least you could afford Psychosis.
I bumped him off the card. I bumped him for Malenko, so that was.
Oh, Malenko's better. Malenko's better.
All right, no, yeah. I went a little left field with my tag team match. I went with the APA, Bradshaw and Farouk versus the Faces of Fear, Meng and Barbarian.
Wow. Okay.
And this is a Falls Count Anywhere tornado tag match. Just these 4 guys just beating the living crap out of each other. When anybody talks about like who are the tough guys in professional wrestling, there's a few names that pop up. Meng is always at the top of people's lists. This is a guy that there's rumors of him taking out complete bar rooms of people, pulling out people's eyes, just knocking people out in one punch. Like he is the toughest of the tough guys. And Barbarian was up there too. And Barbarian did some really cool moves as well in the wrestling ring. His big boot was good. Did a diving headbutt. He had a top rope belly to belly suplex, which was pretty impressive for back in the day. And he was just a big old dude. And then the APA. Those were the guys, like, if you screwed up, Vince sent them out to legit go beat people up in the ring. They did it to Public Enemy. They did it to countless people. And you got Bradshaw just coming in there and hitting that clothesline from hell. I think these 4 just would destroy each other. You add in different weapons on the outside of the ring, even going backstage. I think you're just in for an all-out brawl. But at the end of the day, Bradshaw with that clothesline, once you get hit with it, you're not getting back up. So I see him hitting the Barbarian with that, and the APA taking the win.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah, I went left field.
What is your main event for In Your House One Night Only?
Oh man, so I had a couple that I wrote down, and I chose this one because of the technical abilities from both of these competitors, and it's a match that we never got to see, unfortunately. So I'm looking at Bret the Hitman Hart versus Kurt Angle.
Oh gosh, I didn't even think about them.
And this match ends in a time limit draw. and it
Oof.
builds towards the next pay-per-view. I mean,
Well, it's one night only, so
hey,
we're never going to see it.
but this is like back in the day when they used to book like the WWF champion like the AWA champion, like Nick Bockwinkel would go against, Flair or somebody like that, and you never had a decisive winner. It was to draw the people in, um, and they would kind of do the same thing here. Bret Hart at this point was kind of at the a turning point in his career. He just went over to WCW and kind of fizzled, to WCW's fault. And then Kurt Angle at this point was just a wrestling machine. At this point, he was just putting on classic matches with anybody and everybody that he was in the ring with. Bret Hart always claimed to be the best technician, and then you had Kurt Angle, an Olympic gold medalist. You think about the counters and the reversals going back and forth between these two, each trying to put on their own submissions between the sharpshooter and the ankle lock. I think they would just have a barn burner of a match. Then JR would just like lose his lid, and Jerry Lawler would have no idea where he is, as usual. So that is my main event, sir. What is yours?
Mine's not as
Oh
good
yeah,
as
because you threw
yours.
away on the first match in a freaking Hell in a Cell match.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Bret Hart Stone Cold, so I'm happy with that. But I didn't think about Kurt Angle and Bret Hart. That would have been great. My main event I chose, not realizing later that they actually have fought in the past. I must have missed it or just forgotten about it, or maybe it just wasn't good. But anyways, my main event for the championship is Triple H versus Hollywood Hulk Hogan. I had no idea that they had fought back at Backlash 2002. At that time, it was Hollywood Hulk Hogan defeating Triple H for the undisputed WWF Championship. And I think the month after, it was Hogan and The Undertaker. But I don't remember it for some reason. It was a stacked card, though. Eddie Guerrero and Rob Van Dam, Kurt Angle and Edge, Undertaker and Stone Cold Steve Austin. So, I mean, it had its crap, too. Scott Hall and Bradshaw. And Big Show and versus Justin Credible and Steven Richards. And then the match before, Billy and Chuck defeating Al Snow and Maven. But whatever. Classic. So that was your 2002 Backlash. But anyways, Triple H versus Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Triple H comes to the ring along with Stephanie McMahon. Great 13-minute match here. But Triple H does go over
the worst
Hollywood
ever.
Hulk Hogan. It was so the way we ended it here is Stephanie hands Triple H the sledgehammer. He hits Hogan in the head and does a lazy pedigree with a limp Hulk Hogan. So he doesn't have to take it very well anyway. He's halfway knocked out. And Triple H does take the win for that. But anyways, that's my main event. So those are our cards.
Those are good. Did you have any matches that you thought about, or were your backup matches?
I didn't have a lot of backup matches. If I could, I would have put Lita on the card. There was just no really, really good WCW women at the time. But Lita would have been on the card for me. There was people I wish I could have gotten on. I did have the Dudley Boys in the original tag match. But I ended up not utilizing them over Edge and Christian and the Hardys. Brock is just not my cup of tea, but I get the appeal there. I mean that's pretty much it on the WWF side. There are people I always liked, but I don't know if I'd include them on a card. I liked Test back in the day. I thought he was really cool. I really like Diamond Dallas Page. But I just don't think that he really holds matches that well. Goldberg was a huge get, but I don't like Goldberg personally for match quality. So Buff Bagwell was always a fun dude. I did have the Steiner brothers in mind. I was going to do a Steiner brothers Dudley Boys tag match, but I ended up replacing that with the Brothers of Destruction.
I had a few other matches that I went back and forth with. So my backup tag match was going to be the Outsiders versus the Hardys. I just thought, size versus speed would be a good matchup.
Yeah.
Everybody always talks about, Undertaker versus Sting as being a dream matchup. Again, I wanted to go left field, so I went Sting versus Kane. I had Regal versus Malenko, which I'm sure has already happened. For my Undertaker match, I would have actually liked to see him go against WCW Raven, because Raven at that point was a very manipulative person, master on the microphone, and he also had his flock. So I think kind of that distraction towards the Undertaker, I think that would be some really cool promos against each other. Maybe not the greatest match in the world, but I think the lead up to it would be really cool. I did have another Scott Norton match, so if you've never seen Scott Norton, you got to freaking watch him. Oh my god, he was awesome. But I had Scott Norton versus Mark Henry. Just two strong men going at it, but I thought Brock would have been the more athletic option there. And then I had Dean Malenko versus Kurt Angle. Again, just technical matchup there. And then this is the one I was torn on. So I had Brett versus Angle. I was really neck and neck with Rock versus Brett.
That would have been good too. Brett and Angle would have been a better wrestling match.
Rock could try to put on his crappy sharpshooter, and Brett, trying to show him like, no, this is the way you do it. But I think they would have had some cool stuff on the mic too. With their promos back and forth. Brett was always that straight lace kind of dude, and The Rock always had that bravado about him and the humor. But I think when it came down to needing to be more serious, he could do it. And I thought they would have a really, Brett brings the best out of people. And I think that would have been really great. So, but this was fun.
Nice.
I liked your matches. I like that we kept it a surprise from each other.
Yeah. It's really interesting to see how we went in different directions in everything but the Barclays Center. So I think we both can agree, however, the dark match definitely would have been Larry Zbyszko versus Shawn Stasiak. That would have been our dark match.
I probably would have went with Chuck and Billy versus La Parka and Psychosis.
All right. Well, I mean, actually, that would have been a decent match. I was going for really real crap. Yeah. I would have went with the Big Valboski versus Eric Bischoff for the dark match.
And on that note, folks.
Yeah. So, hey, thanks for joining us on this bonus episode of the audio-only You Dad Me at Hello podcast. We will be doing more of these bonus episodes or audio-only episodes in the future, depending on how or if Andy pays for his internet. So we hope you enjoyed this. Maybe we'll make a cool video to go along with this on YouTube. If not, you'll just see a cool logo for the entire 30 minutes. So we hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day. Please make sure that you are subscribing and commenting on Facebook or YouTube, and subscribing also on all of our audio podcasts, wherever you listen to it, Spotify, Google, Apple, etc. So thank you for joining us. Have a great day. Talk to you later.